Okay, let us proceed.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much, Jonathan. Good evening, Saeed. It's good to have you here. Let me see. Okay. Um,
Well,
yeah.
Farrell,
Uh,
It's Shahid and all the learners who will be watching this on the recording. So, like, welcome everybody, please.
yes, we'll do so, Jonathan. Uh, Good evening, everyone. For those of you who don't know, my name is Farrell Fars. I'm from Tourism World Academy. Welcome to this last um, online session that we are having tonight. Um, I can't believe time went so by, went by so quickly. Um, yeah, I can't believe we went through 8 units in such a short space of time. I can't believe the time just flies, eh? But for all intents and purposes, it's good to know that we have made good progress in terms of going through each and every single unit over the past couple of days, and the ability that we have to record these sessions, and for you as volunteers and students and learners to go back again and to revisit, rewatch these sessions. It's an absolute blessing, especially when you can do it in your own in your own time when it suits you. Well, without any further ado, we do have a few slides to get through. Before we continue, I would just like to remind everyone that please make sure that you do make an effort, for those of you who have not, that you do make an effort to submit your documents. It's of utmost importance, and also to make sure that you sign those contracts that needs to be signed. Remember, I said this afternoon that it's important for us to make sure that our compliance is up to scratch and up to date, both for the stipend that needs to be paid, and then obviously for the certificates that needs to be issued. So just make sure that you do make an effort, for those of you who haven't, that you do submit those documents either the hard copy or via email. And keep also in mind that when you look at all the case studies, please make sure that you take a look at your learner guide. The POEs will be handed out this week, and also the logbooks for every volunteer, and that also needs to be completed and kept up to date. Yeah, so we may continue with day 8, learning unit 8, introducing South Africa to tourists. We may continue. Thank you so much. Now, if you go to the next slide, you'll see when it comes to South Africa, this great and wonderful country of ours with so much potential, and we are introducing South Africa to the Netball World Cup, and obviously, especially to the World Cup volunteers. For those who can read with me, the objective is as follows: to provide volunteers with a basic understanding of South Africa's demographics, culture, economy, infrastructure, institutions, cultural heritage, and natural heritage. That is the aim of Unit 8. So that is what we'll be focusing on when it comes to Unit 8. When we look at Part 1, let me just make life easier for myself here quickly. Wonderful. When we look at Part 1, demographics and cultural groupings, when it comes to South Africa, South Africa has a population of approximately 40 million people. The population is diverse with a breakdown of racial, gender, and age groups. More people live in the eastern half of South Africa than in the western half. South Africa is often referred to as the Rainbow Nation due to its multicultural society. There are various cultural groupings in South Africa, including Zulu, Xhosa, Sotho, Ndebele, Tsonga, Venda, Swazi, San, Khoi, English, German, Dutch, Portuguese, Italian, Afrikaans, Hindu, Tamil, Muslim, Greek, Jews, Chinese, Lebanese, Yugoslavs, Czechs, Swiss, Hungarian, Spanish, and also Polish. Polish, yeah. So you have to understand when you look at this rainbow nation, it's really a mix of different cultural groups coming together, almost living, quote unquote, living under one roof. And we are supposed to be proud of this rainbow nation that we live in because of the many cultural differences that we have, and we can learn from one another and gain value from one another. Um, we have 11 official languages that are recognized in South Africa. isiZulu, Afrikaans, Sepedi, isiXhosa, isiNdebele, English, Siswati, Setswana, Sesotho, Sevenda, and isiTsonga. isiTsonga, yes. Yes, those are the 11 languages that make up 11 official languages that we have in this country of ours. The first
Farrell, sorry to
the-
interrupt you. Good evening, guys. Sorry, I'm so late. I was on 6
No.
o'clock, but then nothing happened.
Uh,
Regarding the official languages, I believe sign language was also now signed in as another official language for the deaf people. Sign
Oh, it
language.
has been
You know what,
officially
you know
added to the list.
Yeah, yeah, guys, let me interrupt here. There's actually like 12 or 13 official languages now. Sign language is one, and the other one is Khan. So yeah, I think yeah, no, there's definitely more than 11. This is old statistics, so forgive it. Sorry, apologies.
Okay, okay. Thank you
No
so much
problem,
for that.
guys. No problem.
Yeah, that's fine. But I think it's important that to know it's important that we are aware and that we know that
Yes.
what makes up this wonderful rainbow nation of ours. It's good to know the different cultural groups. It's good to know the official languages and the mixture thereof. It's small things like that when engaging a visitor, engaging a tourist, that goes a long way. It's good to know that you know things, you know enough things, you are knowledgeable about this wonderful country of ours. It is of utmost importance, especially engaging our international tourists that has arrived at our shores or on our shores. The first learning activity in small groups, volunteers can discuss the cultural diversity in South Africa and share their own experience with different cultures. Now, when it comes to this country of ours and the experiences that we have, let us just go back to the previous slide. When we look at the differences that we have, the experiences we have, we all have a unique story to tell when it comes to the experiences in South Africa. We all come from different backgrounds, different cultural groups, and we all have our own story to tell. We all have our own experience that we can share with each other and put on the table. That is what makes us unique. That is what actually makes us stronger as well, because we have these different stories, these different values, these different things that we don't know about one another really, but I can learn from the person next to me. I can learn how culturally rich we are as a country, and it's good to have diversity. It's good. It's exactly that thing that brings us together. Because of the diversity, it forces us to reach out to one another. I need to know more. I must have this desire to know more about this country that we live in. So when we go to the next slide, you'll see the more information that we have about this wonderful country of ours. Part 2, when it comes to the economy and the infrastructure. The first point there is South Africa has an abundant natural resources, including minerals like gold, diamonds, and platinum. Major industries include iron and steel, food processing, fishing, and the motor industry. South Africa engages in international trade with various partners. South Africa has a well-developed transportation system, including road, rail, sea, and air routes. I don't know if I fully agree with that, but okay, let's leave it there. The country offers a wide range of leisure attractions such as game parks, casinos, surfing areas, hiking trails, and mountaineering opportunities. Leisure infrastructure includes hotels, conferencing facilities, restaurants, sports stadiums, theme parks, and theaters. Yes, we may continue. So when you look at this country of ours, these are all of the small things that you can actually inform our tourists about what we as a country have to offer. If we have to explore South Africa's economy a bit further, the objective is really to deepen the volunteers' understanding of South Africa's economy and infrastructure and their significance for the Netball World Cup and tourism in the country. Once again, there's an activity. They divide the volunteers into small groups, assign each group with a specific aspect of South Africa's economy or infrastructure to research. Now, it's a wonderful thing to know that the onus rests upon us to make sure that we do go the extra mile and to do our own research about certain aspects of our country. It's also important to know that it will help me, especially being involved in the World Cup netball, in the Netball World Cup, for example, that I need to equip myself and make sure that I'm knowledgeable about the country which I am living in right now. Um, if I had to go and do some research and talk about certain aspects of the economy, etc., it's important to know that. Can we just go 2 slides back quickly? I just want to make sure that I've covered everything. Yes. We can go. Yeah. Yes. When it comes to instruct groups to conduct. Instruct the groups to conduct research. Yes. Encourage the group to gather information. Okay. We can go on to the next slide. Yes. Okay. Just 139. If you can go to 139. Yes. After each presentation, facilitate a brief discussion to clarify any questions and encourage participants to reflect on the importance of the topic of the Netball Cup, Netball World Cup, and tourism in South Africa. Conclude the activity by summarizing the main findings from each group and highlighting the interconnectedness of the different aspects of South Africa's economy and infrastructure in creating a positive tourism experience. Now, when you look at what the aim is of this activity, is to make sure that we look at the bigger picture and how everything is integrated into one another, and that everything, every aspect of the economy and the infrastructure actually do have a role and a part to play. Yes, it's important. You can't neglect and say, but this thing is not as important as the other thing. You have to come to the realization that, listen here, when you look at the economy and if you look at the infrastructure, you need to know what makes up the economy of this country, what makes up the infrastructure of South Africa. So that is important. So when you do your research and look at the different aspects of the economy, look at the different aspects of the different aspects of our infrastructure in this country, you need to make sure that the integral part that each and every single aspect of that place in this economy is. We may continue. So just make sure that you are comfortable and familiar with that. The learning outcomes, obviously, volunteers will gain a deeper understanding of South Africa's economy and infrastructure. They will recognize, the significance of various factors, such as natural resources, industries, transportation, and leisure attractions in promoting tourism and enhancing the Netball World Cup experience. Volunteers will develop presentations, uh, volunteer will develop presentation and research skills, as well as the ability to effectively communicate complex information to diverse audiences. Participants will appreciate the interconnectedness of different aspects of a country's infrastructure and how they contribute to a successful international event. I think that was well summarized when you look at the previous activity that they've referred to in wanting you to go and do your research on certain aspects of the economy and infrastructure of this country and the impact that it has on the event or an event such as the Netball World Cup. Part 3, institutions, cultural heritage and natural heritage. South Africa's legal system is based on the Constitution, which upholds the principle of human rights, equality, and freedom. The country has national symbols and various tourism institutions. Understanding the political history of South Africa, including apartheid, is important in comprehending the nation's journey towards inclusivity. South Africa's cultural heritage is reflected in its languages, religions, food, and diverse cultures. People in South Africa follow different religions, including Protestants, Catholics, Hindus, Muslims, Greek, Orthodox, Jews, and African religious practices. South Africa is known for its diverse wildlife and natural beauty. We may continue. I think these points are very, very straightforward. Yeah, the big 5 animals that we have, big 6 birds, the big 2 marine species are iconic elements of South Africa's natural heritage. These are some of the natural resources that we can show off to the world and to international guests that's coming to visit this wonderful country of ours. The country's topography, climate, physical features, flora, and fauna contribute to its natural heritage as well. We may continue. Exploring South Africa's institutions, cultural heritage, and national heritage. The objective here is the following: to educate volunteers about the history, cultural heritage, and national heritage of South Africa, emphasizing the importance of preserving cultural and natural diversity for the Netball World Cup. Once again, here's an activity here. Divide the volunteers into small groups, assign each group one aspect to research, or provide resources such as book, articles, blah, blah, blah. Yes, okay. Instruct the group to research and prepare. Can we just go back one more slide? Instruct the groups to research and prepare a short presentation that highlights the significance of the assignment as the assigned aspect in the context of the World Cup. Now, when you just on that point, they encourage the groups to include examples, case studies, or visuals to enhance their presentations. Okay, cool. Now, when just on those last 2 points, then I think it's important that
Sorry, Farrell,
you look at the.
do you mind if I come in here for a second?
Yes, you may.
Okay, I just want to say that we're doing a very blended approach in the sense that there's lots of learners that are physical training and there's lots of learners that are virtual training. And
yeah,
a lot of these activities, they're designed for classroom. Okay, so they're designed to be happening in the class. But because
yes,
it's virtual, like you're doing now, you're just explaining how the activity works. But when you and I'm speaking to the volunteers now. When you are doing your workbook, your learner guided workbook, when you're filling out those activities, you just need to have a bit of imagination and imagine that you had conducted that activity in a group setting if you're virtual, because the face-to-face learners will have done it in the class, but you won't. As a virtual learner, you won't have done that. So just imagine as if you had been in a group and done these activities. So when you complete those activities in your workbook, just use your imagination, be creative, and have fun. Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks. Thanks for that, Jonathan. Said, you're more than welcome to add something. If you feel so. The point that I wanted to make is that when you look at the different aspects and you've researched and you are researching or you've researched the different aspects. I mean, before this we talked about the economy and the infrastructure, for example, of South Africa. Here we are exploring different cultural institutions and national heritage and cultural heritages for that matter. And I want to add on to what Jonathan just said. I think when you start researching these different aspects, you will find, especially online, a lot of examples. And the key thing here for me is that second last bullet point where they really focus on the Netball World Cup. So all of the research that you're doing on these different aspects, to keep in mind that how in the context of the Netball World Cup, what effect these things have on this international event. I hope you're hearing what I'm saying, and I hope I'm making sense because this is ultimately where they're going towards and where they're aiming towards. So listen here, it's good to have all of this knowledge. It's good to know the different aspects and the makeup of the economy, the infrastructure, our cultural institutions, for example, natural heritage and so forth. But it's important to understand what impact and in the context of the nation, in the context of the Netball World Cup, what impact that has on a World Cup such as this, and how unique it makes this Netball World Cup being in South Africa. And I'm talking under correction, but I think it's the first time the Netball World Cup has been hosted by South Africa or in South Africa. Am I right?
I think so. Yeah, it's the first time.
It is the first time.
First time in Eastern. Yeah.
Yeah, first time. So when you look at the different aspects and you've researched it, you keep in mind like what sort of impact does that have in the context of the Netball World Cup? I think then you can see a clearer and a bigger picture of the role the country plays especially when it comes to international events such as this. We may continue.
Okay.
Once again, yeah, the objective here, obviously, to educate volunteers about the history, cultural heritage, and natural heritage of South Africa, emphasizing the importance of preserving cultural and natural diversity for the Netball World Cup. Once again, they talk about allocating time to groups to research, organize their findings. Once the presentations are ready, facilitate the sharing session. Okay, encourage an interactive discussion after each presentation, allowing volunteers to ask questions and share their thoughts on the presented topics. So, but you need to be well researched in order to make sure that you know how these heritage sites, how these natural resources that we have, what an impact it has on the Netball World Cup, in us hosting the Netball World Cup, and what value it brings our economy, our infrastructure, and what we have and what we bring to this, what we bring to the table regarding the Netball World Cup. We may continue. Am I covering all? Okay. Additional learning
Yeah.
activity, interactive cultural showcase. Okay. To provide volunteers with an immersive experience of South Africa's cultural diversity and heritage. Organize an interactive cultural showcase event for the volunteers. Assign each group to a specific cultural group. Okay. Instruct the groups to prepare interactive displays or activities. Okay. Provide
Sorry,
resource
Farrell.
material to encourage.
Sorry,
Yes, I'm listening.
sorry, Farrell. I think this activity was designed for the classroom. Let's move on.
Yes, I feel so. Yes, I think yes. Sorry. Um, the learning outcomes. Yes, let's continue with the learning outcomes. When to just in conclusion or in short, when you look at the aims of those activities, those class activities, it's really and Jonathan used a nice word. He used the word imagination. So it forces us to broaden our minds in terms of what we bring to the table as a country, and what value we add to the Netball World Cup as such. That first bullet point here, volunteers will gain knowledge about the history, institutions, cultural heritage, and natural heritage of South Africa. They will develop skills in research, presentation, delivery, and intercultural communication. On that second bullet point, I think it's important, and I think about 3 days ago or over the weekend, no, I think it was on Friday, where we had a nice section on communication skills. Am I right, Said?
Yeah, that's correct, Friday. Yeah.
Yeah, so in terms of in terms of communication skills, it's one thing to have researched all of these wonderful topics and you are knowledgeable about our country, but our ability to communicate and to present this information to tourists, it's another skill set altogether. Am I right?
Yeah, that is correct. Yeah, because it's you will gather all the information. You will have it maybe ready, but sorry about that. You will have it ready and so on. But to carry yourself over to explain to the people might be also be a problem to you. if you're not
Mhm.
used to speaking to people, or you know,
Yeah.
you
I think
you
it's
can
important
gather
to
the information, but how you get it over to the people is also another problem. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you should find a way which you are comfortable with. You understand? I
Yes,
think
yes,
it's important communicate in such a way with the tourist or with our guests in such a way that you are comfortable with it as well. But once again, when it comes to communication skills and developing and equipping ourselves, we've talked and we've touched on that as well. Listen here, if you're not a person that's able to present or to talk that smoothly, it's a skill that you need to then learn.
yeah,
It's a
yes.
skill that you need to develop then for yourselves. Otherwise, you're going to fall behind. But I don't want to linger too long on that second point. Participants will understand the importance of preserving and promoting cultural and natural diversity for the success of the Netball World Cup. Volunteers will recognize the value of cultural understanding and respect in creating an inclusive and welcoming environment for participants and visitors. I think living in a diverse country such as this and welcoming and and having this environment of inclusivity, I think we need or creating this environment of inclusivity. I think is of utmost I think it is of utmost importance, and it should be actually part of our daily lives because uh, we are in environment on a daily basis where we engage different cultures on a daily basis. So we must be sort of equipped, yeah, and well developed by now to make sure that we're creating an environment of inclusivity, especially when it comes to different cultures, etc. The interactive cultural showcase will provide volunteers with a first-hand experience of South Africa's diverse cultures, fostering appreciation and engagement. So yeah, I think for all the volunteers out there doing your learner guide and activities, just please make sure that you understand the crux of the activities and what it entails, what are the objectives of the different activities, what they want you to understand and gain out of it and get out of it for that matter. Anything that you want to add, Shahid?
No, 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 that is fine. Yeah. It's now up to us to put everything together in the book and then submit it with the POE.
100%, 100%. Um, we may continue. Mr. Jonathan,
That is
are
the
you
end.
there?
That is the last slide. There's no more slides on this whole course. This is the final unit, and I wish you all the best, everybody. Just go out there and rock. Tourism world rock. Skills things rocks. All of us rock. Let's just go make it work.
Shahid, did you hear what Jonathan said?
Yeah, yeah, we need to come to the party and show them we are South Africans and we can host this World Cup. Like we did
Yeah,
with the Sevens rugby and the Rugby World Cup,
exactly.
soccer World Cup and
Exactly.
so on. We are capable to do it. It's just everybody must put their hands
Ex-
together and work towards
ex-
it.
Exactly. Thank you, Shahid. I appreciate that, brother. Thank you.
Okay, Jonathan. See you
Yeah.
guys at the
Thank you, guys.
CTICC.
I'll post this meeting on the group soon. Thanks, man.
Okay,
Okay,
guys.
then bye bye. Thank you,
I was,
Pharaoh.
I was,
Have a nice
good,
evening.
have a good evening, guys. I was just warming up. I thought there was more.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, thank you very much, guys.
Go well,
Thanks.
Jonathan. Blessings,
Cheers. Cheers.
Say,
Cheers, bro.
Bye.
Cheers.
uh,
Bye. Bye.